Hey guys, AngryJoe here, and I'm in black and white, and for some glitchy reason, because we're setting up a Discord call, and I think my Discord is trying to use the camera at the same time, and the OBS is whatever. The important thing is I have a creative director here for you guys, and we've got an interview. We haven't done one in a long time, obviously because of the pandemic, but I've had interviews lined up and things, and gosh darn it, I was like, hey, let's just do this digitally, right? So here he is. Here's Stefan. And he is the art and creative director of a recent a game that had their release date recently announced, and it's a game I've been following for a while. I think I put it on one of my top 10 most anticipated games list, Biomutant. So let's talk to him and learn a little bit more about Biomutant and what's going on. So I guess my first question, Stefan, is where's Biomutant and what's taking so long?
Well, it's a big game, and we're not so many people, so obviously that will take us some time. And I guess um, when we started out with this game, it was a little bit different compared to what we are, where we are today, I guess. So in the beginning, this all started with a crazy dream that I had. That
A
it's not
dream?
about. Yeah, it's a
That's
dream.
great.
I dream a lot.
That's
So
that's all my game ideas too. That's cool. So you dreamed
well,
about the little dude running around fighting big monsters and stuff?
Well, he was more focused on the way that he looked, I guess, and also this whole like Yong Wu gung fu mix and match with the martial arts with sword and gun. I guess that was the whole dream. So it kind of grew from that. But I mean, coming out with the idea, that's not the difficult part. It's making it
Yeah.
into reality. That's
Yeah.
the tough part. So I'm really happy that I found some colleagues and friends that that was able to join up on this crazy journey that started in. I mean, you talked about why did it take so long? So we
Yeah.
started with this version of the game in 2016 in May. So I think that was the first time we kind of changed, because we have changed direction a little bit over the
Mm.
course of the years, based on the fact that like people surprised us with, oh, was a huge interest, a huge feedback. So we were a little bit surprised by that. Obviously, super happy and
Yeah.
psyched. So
Based off that
so
first trailer, people were like, "Whoa, this is really cool."
yeah, and I mean, for me personally, it was Gamescom in 2017. I think that's when we realized, and I think all of us, we were 13 people at that time. That's when we realized, like, oh, people really like this. I mean, we were hoping,
Hmm.
as a game developer, you kind of pour your heart and soul into something, and then you can only believe that everybody else will kind of see it the way you do and
Hmm.
like it the way you do. Like that's the that's the truth. I think if you're really doing something that you're passionate about, you can only hope that others will like it. And I guess that's what happened to us in 2017. An interesting touch on that was that I said it changed. So in before 2016, we were only four guys. My
Dang.
background is in open world games,
Yeah.
so I've been doing that for many years at bigger studios. So we kind
Avalanche.
of, yeah, Avalanche
Yeah.
Studios. We kind of wanted to go back and make something small. I also have a background in pen and paper role playing games, so I asked myself like,
My
oh,
man.
could
All right. I love it. That's cool.
could this be the game? Could
Yeah.
this be my Diablo, right?
Yeah.
So and also I had a friend in Greger who said like, okay, let's do that. Let's be a few people. Let's do like Biomutant as a top-down RPG. It
Mm.
sounded totally awesome.
Yeah.
So we started working on that, but then that night, man, 21st of May 2016, I will never forget it. So we were six of us at that time, and both me and Greger were artists. And yeah, you mentioned Avalanche. If you look at Just Cause, it's a game that I art directed, so that's kind of the go-to style, hyper realism. It's not cartoony what we do, so we were still doing the same kind of graphics in a top-down Diablo environment. So
Right.
both of us like, yeah, let's pull down the camera. Can't see shit. I don't see the details. We put so much in. So we were continuously doing that, and then eventually at
Closer.
that evening,
Closer.
yeah.
Closer. I want to show off
So
this cool thing that we did.
so eventually on that evening, we were six of us, so we were like, okay, I'm going to fly to Sony the morning after to show the game publicly for the first time ever. So I was like, okay, we have to make up our minds. Like when I show it, that's the game that we're gonna build.
Yep.
And then we took a vote, six of us, like, should we pull down the camera and make it third person?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the vote was yes. So
Okay.
so we
What
pulled
was
down
your
the
vote,
camera.
Stefan? Just so I know.
It was yes. Yeah, it
Yes.
was yes. Crazily enough, I'm a little bit of a mad hatter if you can't tell already. So yeah, but I really wanted. I mean, the full vision was actually, it really suits a third person action game. The way that you control the character, the freedom you have, the focus on the mix and match of, first it was unarmed, melee, shooting,
Mm-hmm.
all combined, switching all the time. And then we added these crazy mutations. So the idea was also focused on that gameplay core essence that you could switch immediately from, shooting lightning sparks, but shooting immediately with your gun while somersaulting, landing on your feet while
Mm-hmm.
cutting the foe. So we put a lot of energy into that. And that's hard to do with mouse control with the top-down
Yeah.
camera. So I guess like it was quite natural for me to say yes.
Yeah.
So
So
overnight, we changed the whole game from top-down mouse control to gamepad on the PS4. Then I flew to Sony and I showed them the game. And I guess with my background, they kind of jumped to conclusions. Like even though we were six people,
yeah.
like, oh, this is
Whoa.
going to be the next open world game. It's going to be fantastic. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess
Uh,
that's when it started,
yeah.
the first big change. So that's when we started building the game that was announced in 2017.
Yeah.
So that was the first big shift.
Yeah, cool. And so at that point you were like, okay, well, if we're gonna make an open world RPG, we're gonna need more people, more money. How did you
Not
make that
not
happen?
necessarily. Yeah, I think it was the other way around. Like,
Oh
let's
yeah.
not get more people because I come from that. That's
Yeah.
what I did.
You want to keep the
And more.
team small.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and I want to have not more people. I wanted to work with the right people.
Mhm.
So let's not stress it. Let's find the right people.
Mhm.
So when we announced the game in 2017 at Gamescom, we were 13 people, and I think really we were the 13 people that was perfect. We
Yeah.
couldn't have gotten any other 13 people. But we also started at that point then working with THQ. So in the beginning, we were not part of the family.
Mhm.
Eventually we would become like we are today because
With THQ Nordic.
yeah, it's been awesome for me as a developer, so, and for the team. But at that point they just distributed the game because
Mhm.
we were really like adamant of keeping creative control. I said to myself, because I've always been in the position, talking to publishers, talking to producers, and I didn't want to hear "make it brown" again.
Yeah.
So, and especially in this game,
Yeah.
right? We have some brown, but not a lot. So, so we were saying,
The
okay,
people
let's,
trying to tell you what to do. Yeah, change this color, make this color blue. It's like, no, I don't
yeah,
want blue. Is that blue?
yeah,
No, get it out of here.
yeah.
That's
Maybe
cool.
sometimes,
So,
it kind of is blue, but they ask you to make it blue anyways. So
mhm.
if that makes sense, it might have happened to me, might not. I'm leaving it at that.
It's
So
happened to you before. People have tried to tell
well,
us. Yeah,
the
I can
brown.
tell. Yeah,
Okay.
the brown. I wonder
So
what it was. Okay, interesting. Cool. Tell me, what did somebody try to tell you make it brown? Was it previous
maybe next
character,
time.
some of your
Maybe next
artwork?
time. Maybe next time.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of stories. I have a story about it's called Hero Head. So I have to fly back for a huge publisher. I was in London with another project. I had to fly back to Stockholm to draw 25 new haircuts for the main character
Wow.
because the original like three that we decided after doing maybe 100, they were not good enough for the management. So,
He's
so
like,
it's the story called
bring in the
Hero.
artist, bring in the barber.
I
I
had to
don't like the
fly
guy's
back, man.
hair. I need a haircut
Yeah.
myself. So no, to retcon all of this. Come, bring him back. I want 30 haircuts. Damn. Cool,
Yeah.
man.
So things like this they exist, and if you've been
Yeah.
doing this for
And
for
you're
as long
like,
as I
no,
have,
man. Let me do what we want to do now.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, and they believed in us, and they were like, no, I mean it's your guys' vision,
Mhm.
so do really what you want to do. And it went beyond that because in 2017, like the reception that we got was, it blew us away, and it was actually THQ that raised the question, like, are you doing the full vision of the game? And
Yeah.
that's a question you shouldn't ask somebody like me, right? So that's totally
What
stupid.
is the full vision of the game? A multi-million-dollar franchise in the vein of Avengers. I have 5 games in a series in my head. It's right here. Is is that what you were saying?
I guess I could have, but don't forget, like we wanted to retain the team, keep it small, keep it
Mm-hmm.
real. But as I said, I had a lot of ideas. And
Yeah.
when we brought on all of these people and the guys and that we have today, they also have ideas. So
Mm-hmm.
everything's not coming from me. A lot of the crazy shit is coming from other people, and a lot of the cool designs are coming from, from the team members. So we're a tight team, 20 people
Mm-hmm.
still. I think 19 now, and working really with everybody having a strong voice. So,
Yeah.
but at that time we were 13. So when they asked us the question in 2017, we said, of course, we can come up with a
Yes.
full vision, no problem. And we really wanted to do it because we were like super psyched that people were really digging into the game.
Yeah.
Um, so we sat down, we come up with a plan for how to do that. And obviously, the game is big, right? It's
Yeah.
8 by 8 kilometers. It's handcrafted, so it's not nothing procedural. It's just true love. Like everyone put their heart and soul into everything from the way that the game looks to like maybe artists on a normal quote unquote team,
Yeah.
are doing scripting, mission design, level design, quest objectives. So
And I
it's
like it. I
truly
think from your perspective, because you're an artist, it kind of, that does seep into the game there. And you also seem cool enough to like still take feedback because. You can customize the main character, which I was surprised. Some artists are like, "No, look, he's a raccoon cat guy, and that's it. That's who I want. His name is Billy, and he's gonna be the best. And everybody will like Billy. If they don't like Billy, then don't buy the game, kind of thing." But you guys can actually customize the little creature that you're playing, and in this like mutation system or something. Was that your idea? And it's always like it when people do that because I think it takes players and it makes them slightly more attached to who they're playing, as if they get to sort of customize and kind of build and create their own creatures in your world. Was that something that you were thinking about, or maybe somebody else on the team was like, what if we let them do this?
I mean, it was part of the core idea that you could create your own character. I mean, me personally, as you say, I'm an artist, so I love to create characters, obviously. So it
Yeah.
comes natural. But like, let's think about the media that we are in. I mean, we're not making movies, I'm not writing books, I'm not making an illustration. So the game should be interactive. The player also should to like how far can we take that you're in control? That's how far we're going to try to give you control. You're also paying a lot of money for the game, so if you can control that experience, I think that's awesome. There are some
Nice.
constraints, obviously,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if it goes beyond something, you can really fuck up the experience.
Right.
And some people think that's cool, and that even seeps into the development. So
Oh, I
I'll
know,
tell
like
you about
making big butts and small, tiny hands
yeah,
and stuff. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like, just make it kind of cool. It's like I want to customize him,
yeah,
look a little like this, maybe a little like a pirate or a little like a, just
yeah.
an
In this game, you can go
adventurer or something.
way, way farther than that. I mean, everybody's referring to these guys as some form of animal. And I mean,
Hmm.
they have animalistic or characteristics from animals, like the guy you were saying, cat raccoon. I mean, the nose is from. I have 3 dogs, Boston Terriers. Like the nose, you can see it's pretty similar to dog. So it's kind of a mix and match of certain influences. I call them Muppets.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not infringing on that. Maybe I call them Muppets. So, so I call them Muppets. So they are kind of crazy, but you can
Nice.
mutate them a lot, right? And to answer your question, like both me and Gregor, we were kind of particular in the beginning with the design of you know, our our main character, our protagonist. Like this is the character you also see depicted, right? That's the guy that I would have created, but you can do really crazy things here. And in the beginning, we were trying to keep it, more designed, I guess. But when we were developing the character creator, because you can really morph the mammals,
Hmm.
we had the programmers working on that. So me and Gregor just stood in the back of the room, and they were like toying with the character creator when it was like completely without boundaries.
Yeah, they
And
were
they
the
were creating
programmers were
these
going
characters.
crazy.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
laughing their ass off and almost pissed themselves because they were so crazy characters. And Gregor and I remember it. We looked at each other and like, if that's something that we can make, that makes people, react like that,
Yep.
it must stay.
Gotta go in
It
the
doesn't
game.
matter.
It's
I
gotta be in
cannot
the
come up
game.
with anything,
Yeah.
that design.
That's
So,
cool.
but we try to keep it a little bit more tighter
Hmm.
as, more people came in. Vida, the character artist, he's also, he cringed also. I cringe, but
Hmm.
it's still a lot of power
Yeah.
at your finger. I promise you.
Cool.
You can.
So, open world RPG, customize your own character. I am a big loot whore. I say it all the time. I love loot. Tell me about loot, gear, what kind of stuff is in this world that we can find,
Wow.
and what does
Yeah,
it
so
do?
it's a huge focus on customization. You touched upon that. So you can craft your clothes, so jacket, shoulder pads, pants, face thing, helmet, and you can put like pencils on it, tennis balls, whatever shit you want to put on it. I don't care. Like we already destroyed that, sense of design. Like if you want to
Do
do it,
whatever you
okay,
want.
you do whatever
Put
you
put
want.
put a bunch of
Yeah.
shoulder pads over all my wonderful art.
Yeah, we so but we're trying to control it a little bit by
Yeah.
grouping it, if that makes sense. From weapons, you can do, crush, slash, one-handed, two-handed, and you're actually not like in Destiny, you're finding that composite weapon. Here you're taking again, like I have a carrot handle and I have a
What?
rolling pin that I'm baking cookies
Whoa,
with,
cool.
and I put some glass shards on it. Yeah, so it's
Nice.
not only crazy weapons. I'm just
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
examples. So you can really go crazy with, actually creating that strange weapon or cool weapon or whatever you like. Asian aesthetic weapon. I call it ethnic because
Hmm.
it's a mix of, China, Korea, South Asia, Japan.
Yeah, I
It's not
love
really,
the designs
so
in
it's
this.
I
It's
call
so
it
creative.
ethnic.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's super influenced by that. So and also ranged weapons, obviously, and you will find. So loot, it's a huge thing. You have to find all of these sick parts. And
Good.
also from a design perspective, I said I was part of doing RPG games. So we were like, yeah, everything has to have material. Everything has to have, a certain perk. Everything has to. So we have like four different layers to each part that you can find. You have a percentage chance that you get some kind of perk. Uh, you know, so it's a lot. So we worked hard on making sure that's balanced too.
Yeah,
Crazily
yeah.
enough.
You realize
So
how your ideas can get you in trouble, my friend. I
yeah, so I keep on coming back to
Yeah.
why did it take so long? Can you notice?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
building. I'm getting there
Yeah, and
slowly.
you got this open world, and you say players. I read before that they can explore via foot. They can even have vehicles to go around the open world, like a mech. How big is this world? And is there reasons to explore it, or is there like collectibles all throughout? Is there a reason to check out the open world?
Yeah. You mentioned vehicles. I want to go back to what you said, collectibles.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
one of the things that I'm personally quite reluctant, or I really don't, I never do it. 100 feathers, 1,000 feathers, go collect them. I'm not a fan of that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't think anyone on the team is.
Hmm.
So we're trying to come up with like,
But
okay,
you don't
what
want
can
the
be
world to
more?
be empty. Like you don't want
No, no,
that
no.
little nook and cranny looks cool. Let me go over there. Oh, there's nothing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
As
yeah,
a player, that's how it feels, right?
yeah.
But
But we're trying to come up with more strange things. Like, so examples would be from characters, but also to gear them. So let's start with a gear thing. Like there are, let's say, gadgets or mechanics. It could be a television. I'm not saying that it is a television, but it could be from the world before. So you're playing
mm,
in a post-apocalyptic world.
yeah.
The world is also currently dying, but so there are things that we as living in our world would perceive as normal things, but in the world of Biomutant, they're called old world gadgets. And I say, like, interacting with it might not be give the expected results.
Oh,
So, like, the
cool.
key word for us has been weird in a good way. And
Yeah.
if you followed some of the trailers, you can see like a mechanical hand. So maybe you find that, and it needs a wind up,
Hmm.
mechanical wind up thing. In terms of characters, like this world is, like I said, handcrafted. So we try to make sure, like every meter, every 100 meters, there is something strange and something interesting to find. So there's a bunch of characters, quite a lot of them actually, that are maybe not related to the main storyline,
Hmm.
but they have their own weird in a good way storyline. So
Hmm.
one example of that would be there's a character that was shown in some trailers. He's like in the desert. He's a librarian. When you meet him, you only see a suitcase sitting on the desert floor, right?
Yeah.
So when you get near, it opens up and he climbs out of it from nowhere. He's like 3 meters tall. He looks really strange,
Yeah.
starting to put up books. And like he wants you, like he's
It's
getting out, he's going to the
Hogwarts, that
desert.
Harry Potter guy. I forget. And then, there was a move. There was a
Actually, you
movie
know
with
where
that.
it comes from? You know
Where?
where it comes from? I'm born in the 70s, and we had a children's show. We had, I mean, this is a topic. You can Google Sweden children's shows in the 70s. We're known for having TV shows that fucked up a whole
Yeah,
generation in the
weird ass ones, right? I think
so
I've
so
seen
this
little
one was
clips. Yeah.
actually, it's like it's called book tipset. It's like book tip of the day, and it started with this guy that was kind of doing the same thing, climbing out, stacking up books. So it's
That's
inspired
cool.
by that.
That's cool.
So what, instead of a collectible then feather,
Hmm.
like if you work with this guy, so he's out there to read. He's missing three final pages of his book, so obviously he needs help finding them. When you do that, you'll get his suitcase and you can
Nice.
fly away with it. So we're trying to come up with more.
Whoa! You can fly on the suitcase? That's
Well,
crazy,
maybe
man.
did I say that? I
This
don't know. You said it. You said
I
it.
said it. You said it. I heard you say it. So yes. Okay. I could see from your perspective how that is far more fascinating than collect 5 coins or
Yeah, yeah.
find 20 feathers. Yeah. Cool, man.
Polluted. So it has different layers of pollution. Find a stronger engine for the Watski. You can go further out into archipelago, but you can also find other things that can swim, that you can ride. So there's an air balloon. There's so we try to, you know, make it weird but still fun, and trying to get, so that also entices you to go and explore, because you will likely find some crazy character that you can work with and get something else than just a ticker on 100 feathers.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Um, now you mentioned a little bit comparisons to other games, Shadow of Mordor, and they've been in the news recently. And I was like, oh, I was cringing a little bit because I was like, oh, I don't want them to come after you because they copyrighted, game mechanics and stupid crap like that. What do you think about, game developers copywriting game mechanics
Oh
and stuff like that?
man, oh man, what do I think about it? It's so ridiculous. Like everything that
Yeah.
kind of confines creative freedom, or it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's hello.
I know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what they were thinking. That's I guess, you as a creative guy, art guy, creative director, like that's the kind of stuff that, is bad. It
yeah,
restricts creativity. It restricts, iterating on things and making them better because, even that game was basically they were copying all previous stuff except for maybe that one
yeah.
system. So, it's a
We're all
bad thing.
inspired by each other, right? I
Yeah.
mean, and that will be the next cool thing. And if that kind of thing continues,
Hmm.
that will mean, like, as a developer, as a creator, you have to navigate this landscape of,
Yeah.
and then eventually it will, create less creative games, I think, because yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Definitely.
no,
I
we have
like
done
that.
our best to
Yes.
to fill the world with those things. So I really
Hmm.
recommend exploration.
Yeah.
You also talked yeah, because I mean, in the beginning, the game was supposed to be like. This is also one of the reasons it took us some time, because at the end of 2019, so last year, we spent a lot of we did some testing, with real gamers to find out, do they get what we're trying to do here,
Yeah.
and it's quite a lot of features.
Hmm.
So our problem was like, oh shit, we need to explain it better.
Yeah.
Like we're doing a poor job of explaining all of these features.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we had to do, like in the beginning, the vision was, we call it a true adventure.
Mm.
So like no quest markers. But
Mm.
if you do that 8 by 8 kilometers,
Yeah.
you're like, what? Just give me the entertainment already. Like
Yeah.
I'm supposed to go and find the things before I can have fun. No way.
Yeah.
So we had to go back last year and kind of make sure that we call it red line. So the
Mhm.
main storyline, that's always clear to the player.
Yeah. I'm
But then
with you,
obviously,
man. I'm with you. I
yeah,
like, oh, I like it hardcore. I don't want the hand to be held. But honestly, you want to make sure that as many people as possible can enjoy the game and wants to
yeah,
explore the game. So as long as there's still, stuff that you can go off that main path and you can go check things out, and there's still rewarding things for people that may not have done something, that have, oh, I'm just going to stay on the main path. But there needs to be rewards for people that, want to explore your world and get that richness. So that's cool that
yeah,
you considered that.
yeah. We try to put in also things that will trick you to deviate from the main path.
Yeah.
So we got like double-edged feedback on that. Like, yeah, there's so many things that I cannot follow the main quest line. Like, yeah, but you don't have to go there.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it looked interesting, so I had to find it out, and then I forgot what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, okay, is that a bad thing or good?
No,
We
it's
don't
a
know.
good thing.
So yeah,
I
that's what
love
we
it.
concluded. So we kept it like that.
One of the
So
other things that I've seen you talk about in interviews before is like, this sort of morality system in there, kind of like a game I know of in the past, Fable. Like, is it kind of like Fable where you do good things and people treat you that way, or if you do bad things, people treat you that way? Are there two paths here, or how does that work exactly?
yeah, we call it aura. So let's say light and dark.
Hmm.
You could also say yin yang. I don't know. There's a balance path too. So we don't call out in dialogue, for example, because I said it's an RPG, right?
Hmm.
So it was me and a guy called Matt Forbeck, a fantastic writer who wrote the script.
Hmm.
That's also one of the reasons why it took a little bit longer. At the end of last year, it was like 85,000 words. We ended up this like with
Wow.
the final game is 250,000 words, so it's like two and a half books almost.
Yeah.
So that was hard work to do that, but the game kind of deserved it. Like I said, these crazy characters, they needed more depth, and one of the things that we did was tying that to this aura system,
Yeah.
so that they could actually know. We gave them aura or alignment, so we are checking like, okay, you're now talking to a character that has this point of view on the world, and
Hmm.
you are seemingly thinking this. We're not calling that out because in the dialogue, we're not saying, hey, choose this blue choice.
Right.
Then you're saying blue. We're just like, okay, answer it. And we will give you the score depending on your answer, on
Hmm.
based on your real dialogue answer. Sometimes, it's a little bit too obvious what would be the bad or good
Hmm.
answer. But anyways, it's a nice feel too. And
Okay.
so staying it has like in maybe Infamous would be an example also,
Hmm.
because it kind of ties into the powers. So you have like some mutations, like I call them X-Men style mutations,
Yeah.
or Uxman, like no infringement,
Yeah. Yeah.
Uxman.
Yeah.
So those kind of powers, the psionic powers, so they are like existing in dark and light versions.
Gotcha.
But we're not gating you there either. I hate
Yeah.
that shit. Like,
Yeah.
oh, now I can't buy the dark one because I was light. So
So
one
can
of
you
the
still do that? Like, say, when you play some Star Wars games, sometimes you're like, oh man, I can't force choke anybody.
yeah.
Is that similar to your game? If you go too light, then you're not gonna be able to do a specific ability.
No, that's what we decided not to do.
Hmm.
So we did like, and this is kind of how it is in real life, right? Everybody has some light and some dark. So
Yeah.
you're actually building both scores or both, like, now I'm talking now only about the game. I love the gamification part. So you're building both light and dark aura.
Okay.
But from a narrative perspective, they perceive you kind of like you started the question, is it truly black and white? Well, in one way, they perceive you a little bit like that.
Hmm.
Like, and that's, I guess, also a little bit, once you get to know somebody in real life, they can also be perceived, I guess, light or dark or good or evil.
Yeah.
So it has some depth. It also has some aspects that are a little bit different compared to other games, I guess. And some, there are world events, there are civilians in the world. The world is dying. There are 6 tribes in the world. 3 of them are dark, 3 of them are light. They have
Hmm.
different goals, depending on who you choose to ally with. That relationship can be a little bit different. These tribe leaders will ask you to either unite the other tribes or to kind of subdue the other tribes, depending on if they're dark and light.
Hmm.
And once you have helped conquer those rival tribes, you can decide or take a hand and decide the fate of the rival Sifu.
Yeah.
So you can make a choice there as well. It ties into the ending. Also, like, do we strive to let the tree of life stand? That's a metaphor for the world, obviously, and build upon what we can now, or do we want it to crumble and fall so we can rebuild a new, like a little bit like Thanos? You remembered Avengers there. You
Yeah, yeah.
mentioned Avengers, so I guess that's the only connection
Yeah, I got you.
to Avengers.
So, and then I guess finally here, I think in a previous interview it had said that, this last year was devoted solely to sort of bug squashing, and I think it's obviously super important with what has happened recently here with certain high profile games that have been worked on for a long time. They say, oh, this is ready, it's great, it's coming out. And then it comes out and it is a mess. So, as a creative director, do you think about that kind of stuff? Is that stuff that keeps you up late at night? It's like, is my game gonna come out and be a disaster? A game is it bad right now? Tell us, is it gonna come out
No.
in a bad state?
Well, first of all, it's not my game. It's really our game.
Yeah.
Like everybody, it's really truly our game. So I think that's important. Does it keep me awake at night? Yeah, in a way. I mean, yes, it's a culmination of a lot of hard work.
Hmm.
And I would say that this game, of all the games I worked on, is quite personal to me. And I guess it's very personal to all of us.
Hmm.
So we all care deeply about how it will be perceived. And releasing a buggy game, it's devastating. It's heartbreaking. And
Hmm.
sometimes you don't get the time or resources that you need, right? Because you don't have the right partner, there
Yeah.
are deadlines, people don't have infinite amount of cash.
Right.
So
Release it
one
now,
other,
and then it just
yeah,
comes out
maybe they
now.
have to, right?
Hmm.
Maybe they have to. I'm not, I don't know. I'm just taking up some examples. I've been in those situations.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't do anything about it. You can only do your absolute best.
Hmm.
So I think that's what I'm trying to say to the guys at the studio. Like two-thirds of the guys have never released a game. This is a fantastic studio. I didn't want to work with the same old to
Hmm.
such an extent. So these are all like pretty much new to this. And I said, as long as we do our best,
Yeah.
this is the only thing that we can do. And I think this year, 2020 for us was finding that spot when we can kind of project realistically when do we think the game can be released
Hmm.
without being a mess, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
every game will ship with bugs.
Yeah.
We don't want to ship with, you know,
Yeah.
really truly disruptive bugs. So
Like
so I think
game-breaking stuff. Yeah.
no, the
The
game.
fundamental
So
design flaws that are completely, broken or
yeah,
unfinished. Yeah.
so I guess in our game, that's super challenging because we have really a big creative toolbox for the player. The player has a lot of things that can mix and match at different instances, like, and that creates a lot of combinations. Or
Yeah.
it's prone to bugs.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's put it that way.
dude, in an open world game with
Yeah.
customization and then modular pieces, that is difficult. I mean, and
Yeah.
especially you say you want to keep the team small.
Yeah.
There's no way 20 guys can then, bug test. Do you have at least a Q&A division or something that can
So I was going to
help you
mention
out?
them. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we have super tight support from THQ. So they were also like, okay, tell us when you think that you come to the point when we can feel good about announcing a release date. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't stress it. They asked us to come to that
Nice.
point. And I guess
Nice.
by the end of last year, we felt, okay, it seems like we have most of the things,
Mhm.
not all,
Mhm.
under control.
Mhm.
But from January to where we are going in May, it feels pretty good.
February,
We
March,
feel
April,
very
May.
good about
Yeah.
the situation.
So at
Yeah.
this
So
point, all like the major systems are done and stuff, and in
yeah,
these last 3-4 months, it's mostly let's polish it, right?
it's only fixing bugs.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Okay,
we
cool.
have a couple of hairy ones still.
Hmm.
Shit you're trying to figure out is like, how does this happen? It's really hard to repro.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is always game development. So
Yep.
we have a few of them. We're looking a little bit. The game is releasing on Xbox. I'm talking about last year now. So Xbox, PS4,
Hmm.
and PC. So for us, it was, we build from last gen up.
Right,
So
right.
instead of making like, oh, look at this, current gen, super
And
high
then go
def, and
backwards.
then trying to
Yeah,
build, that's much
that's
more
tough.
difficult.
Yeah.
So the game exists, on PC and a higher end version
Hmm.
already. But for us, we're really trying to focus on the last gen consoles. Um, I think that makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
because most of us out there, I don't have a PS5. Hey,
Yeah.
I tried to get one.
You
I cannot get it.
them damn
So
scalpers. I know. You would think they come up with a
so how can
better
I play my
system.
own game if I don't
Yeah.
have a PS5? Yeah. So
Exactly.
we worked hard on that. So
Okay, but there is
so
going
hope
to be. Is there going to be a PS5 version in the future? Xbox Series X?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kidding. You will be able to play the game on the current gen consoles.
Okay.
That's the kind of diplomatic answer. But
Hmm.
like I said, the game exists on PC, like in a, let's say, higher definition version.
Right.
So let's see what happens in the coming months and on that
Okay.
topic. Our
Well,
focus is on completing the game.
I'm glad. I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see. I guess I have to ask this because I'm Angry Joe and I harp on it all the time. Are you guys planning on doing any like DLC, loot boxes, microtransactions, like a big, I don't know, a big multiplayer mode where progression is tied to loot boxes? None of that is in the game, right? Because this is from what I understand, it is a single player, open world RPG where you just role play and you get into the world, right? Is there that kind of stuff in it?
The only loot boxes you will find are those with the crazy part that you need for crafting.
Right. Yes. Loot boxes are good, people, in an RPG where you don't pay actual real money for them. You find them and you're like, whoa, a loot box. Cool. I love loot boxes, right?
Yeah, so the game is jam packed with those. But
Okay.
other than that, no, 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 no. I
Excellent.
think I even said it like back in 2017. We will never do microtransactions and
Wow.
stuff like that.
That's
I'm not a
nice.
fan of it either. So
Dude, I
we
like
got like
you. Holy crap, you're rare. And the fact that they're letting you do what you want and allow you to do that. They're like, no, you need to put this in, and we need loot boxes, and we need character packs. You want to be the bunny, then you got to find the bunny in the character pack, and you got to spend $9.99. So I'm very glad that
forward to
you're
see when you found the bunny thing, so
right.
you can create your own bunny in the
Yeah.
game. You can do it.
Good, good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Stefan,
Thank
for
you
taking the
for
time to
taking
tell
part.
us a little bit more about Biomutant. I know that it's been a little bit in the background because you guys have been working hard on it, and now you're trying to tell more people about it and get the word out there. And I'm happy to do that because it looks super interesting. I hope it works out. If you can tell me when it comes out exactly and what systems it's releasing for.
May 25th. Fingers crossed, stars align, but it's looking really good
Yeah.
right now. So, and it's on Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Sorry for my black and white colorlessness.
I stole the color.
There.
Look, I stole all your
There you
color.
go.
So,
He's got all the color, right? Well, thank y'all so much, and we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.
bye.